Be sure to visit my Facebook group, Hollywood Shono Gaming, for the latest gaming needs. Also, check out my Twitch at Hollywood Shono and my Hollywood Shono YouTube live streams for all premieres of past live streams on Twitch.
Cool. All right, so we're here to discuss Black Dragon Tower and what's coming up next. I mean, I think I already know your feelings a little bit on the Black Dragon Tower, but...
And for those of you guys wondering on the audio, this is Manwithnogame, a great guy within the Mortal Kombat mobile community. And regarding my take on the Black Dragon Towers, I feel the main thing that I had a problem with, I didn't mind the difficulty of the towers. What I had a problem with was the bosses kind of just doing x-rays out of nowhere. If they would have kept the power exactly like they did in the Lin Kuei Tower, where like the Sub-Zero bosses had power that you could manipulate, I think that would have been a lot better than the way they did it. That was my main problem with it.
Okay, so chiefly, we're talking about Boss Gunslinger Aaron Black, and then also Boss Classic Kano, for the most part, because those were the two that were really just kind of popping x-rays out of nowhere.
Or their abilities. And I feel it was unnecessary because it came down to RNG and it was just stupid. The drop rates possibly, but I kind of understand they got money to make too.
Yeah, it makes sense. You know, and so much of the Black Dragon Tower did kind of come down to RNG, you know, especially because you're getting these epic gears at random when you complete the tower, and if you're running the normal towers, you're pretty much just getting the uncommon gears every 40 fights, you know, beginning with, I think it was fight 10.
Speaking of uncommon gears, I got a funny thing. Star and Sky, we'll talk about that too, I guess gave you some flack because you were beating bosses better than hackers using strategies that I would use. Let's hear a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, you know, obviously it's kind of hard to hate on the guy when you get a call out, but then at the same time, you know, here he is, you know, he's got this hacker on there before me who's clearly, you know, a hacker. He's got maxed out epic gear on, and he finished, you know, with a lot less time left on the clock than I did. And then, you know, once he gets to my match, you know, he keeps talking about how suspect he thinks, you know, the massive damage I'm doing is. But, you know, it's pretty clear that he doesn't know how to, you know, build a talent tree, at least in terms of maxing out this critical damage in the towers, maxing out your critical percentages, that kind of stuff. So, yeah, that blew me away. But then at the same time, I understand, you know, like he doesn't really get those mechanics of the game, and I think the reason why is because he's never really had to work, you know, in the game for anything, you know, because most of the equipment he's got and characters he's got, etc., is all maxed out to begin with. So
exactly.
It's funny because I tried to, you know, post in the comments, post on Twitter some stuff, because a lot of people were on there dragging my name in the mud with that, but you know, you don't really get a response. You know,
he does not respond on Twitter. No,
no,
not active.
Even to comments on YouTube. But you know, I think most of the community, you know, kind of feels a certain way about a lot of the stuff that he does. I think he has some showmanship for sure. I mean, it's no doubt how you get such a big following. And
yeah, it's all a shit show for him.
Yeah, and some of that stuff is fun, but I mean, at the end of the day, I think a lot of people are going to watch his channel and get kind of misinformed about things in the game, especially with, you know, when he was talking about my match, he kept saying, you know, certain things that could have been done better, and I couldn't believe it because, you know, they're literally like, you know, there wasn't any way I could imagine it could have gone better, you know, given the AI. Yeah, I didn't have any, you know, unblockable attacks on Liu Kang. You know, I didn't have any block breaking equipment. So, you know, and I hit like free special 2, which only has a 10% chance, I think, 6 times in that match. So, you know, I think it's obvious he didn't understand the talent tree build. He didn't know the equipment I was using because I didn't post that on the video to begin with. I kind of just threw it up there casually. It's been hard for me to put together videos, until recently when this quarantine ended. But it's kind of one of those things that's like, I don't know, man. How could it be better?
All I can say is if I'm putting your word against his, I'm taking yours any day of the week, because you come out with factual information. Like even with the Lin Kuei Tower, both of us, I think, had some discussion on why certain talents were better than others, and it made a lot of sense, especially when we're running like random teams to get stuff done. Like, I mean, you guys have seen that I've been running with like Inferno Scorpion and pulling off some stuff that people are like, wow, he can actually do that.
Well, and I think that's the thing that's so cool about MK Mobile. Even after all these years, it's basically MKX Mobile with a little bit of, makeup thrown on it.
Yeah.
But it's been such a great game for so long that if you do understand those underlying mechanics, and the amount of damage that you can pull off, I mean, on the tag in, on Inferno Scorpion, that type of stuff, those are the type of gameplay mechanics that you want to cheese as much as you can. It gives you a huge advantage.
And don't get me wrong, I'm a huge fan of like them bringing out towers and challenging content. But I hated the fact that I could be playing the game perfectly, like in the Lin Kuei Tower, then all of a sudden I get X-rated and just blown out of nowhere. I think there's no place for that. And I know that some of the people with like maxed out diamonds can probably get around that because they have healing and other stuff, but you got to think about the middle game player, and their solution would be, well, you can just refresh it 20 times. But I just got so fed up with it where you could have like the greatest attempt in the world and then one X-ray out of nowhere after the opponent comes out from stun lock. And yeah, I think there just needs to be a middle ground where bosses just can't do whatever they want. They need to have power to do it. That's my biggest boycott from it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I know that's one of the reasons why Match 100 was so hard for so many people.
I didn't even get to 100. I think I got to like 80 or 90 and was like, screw it, I'm done with this crap. I just didn't want to deal with the headaches and the stress, which I know some people come to my channel for. By the way, I'd like to give a shout out to Game Time Gaming and Kesey. Is there anybody in your community that maybe I haven't linked with that you'd like to give a little quick shout out to for being a great Mortal Kombat mobile player? I know you got a different audience than I do.
Yeah, well, I would say, you named two who I would definitely give a call out to. In terms of my own learning and inspiration, I would definitely give a call out to This Bitch. Doesn't have much of a following on Twitter.
Yes, good information from that person too.
Yeah,
I agree.
But certainly deserves it. Majestic Me, another great player, JT. And then Lefter is MKM, deserves a call out. And C4 Stay Smacked as well. Those guys, definitely have been wonderful guys to strategize with. And I think that's the thing that makes our community so awesome is, as we approach these new, challenges, when the updates come along, the new towers drop, everybody's having at it, and we're all getting, information on what approaches are the most effective. And
yes, myself included for the first few days. So I got stressed out at Tower 80.
Yeah. So, and I think it's one of those things, like sometimes it's worth sticking with it because, that frustration, like so many other games, will pay off eventually. It's that much more satisfying when you can beat it handily.
So from somebody that's completed the tower, 8 or 9 times, what do you feel about the drop rates on gear? Or are you finding that opening the wallet is the best way to winning? Like, do you feel that the drop rates are a little below average, or do you feel they're just right?
I think the drop rates are awful. I wish they'd done something like Tower of Horror. I understand that they do have a business to run, and it's funny because summer of last year I was kind of calling them out for not being able to monetize veteran players. I thought they kind of picked up newer players a lot, and get them to spend a lot of money on stuff that has very little value.
I hope you didn't spend anything on those Terminator packs, by the way.
No, not.
Thank God.
Not this time. When it first came out, I ended up getting a few growth packs because I made the mistake blowing all my souls right after the Tower of Horror, not thinking there was going to be an update for a while. And I was chasing some specific gear, Bloodsucker, to throw on my MK11 Scarlet. So I ended up having no souls by the time the Terminator rolled around, which, that kind of got me stuck in a way where I had to get a few growth packs to, pull one. But, aside from that, I think it's one of these things where, everybody's going to be different about it. I think sometimes it can help, if you spend the money, especially in these towers, just to get a few pieces of gear. I think it's pretty tough to max out, especially in Black Dragon Tower. There's no way you're going to max out any of the rare gears without spending a little bit of money. But, it's not the best proposition or value for your money, I think, at the end of the day, too, because you do that and then, all of a sudden you're selling back uncommons, and you rarely, if ever, get it epic. Because they've got the drop rates pretty rigged for those.
Yeah, I think I had 3 Frost Orbs in Lin Kuei, and I was lucky to get one within Tower 50. That made a big difference when climbing early on. But here's something I'm wondering regarding the future of Mortal Kombat Mobile. Do you feel that they should add more challenge characters in the game? And what revisions would you like to see in the Blood Ruby store? Like, do you want to see like a way to convert currency to other currency to buy stuff, or do you just want to see new stuff in there for the veteran players that are hoarding Blood Rubies?
Yeah, those are great questions. So I think we definitely need challenge characters, because every week now, I'm sure you'll probably agree, it's just like this grind, especially having to get the Elder difficulty level done. And
I never even do Elder. I do the first 2 on Saturdays, and I'm like, I got other things to do. It just takes too long. It's like 120 fights or something like that. I don't have time for that.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you there, and I think you don't get much value for those souls at the end of the day either.
No, you get more in hard difficulty than you do in Elder. You get 200 in Elder. You get more in hard.
Exactly. So, there's not a whole lot of payoff to it now versus what it would be if you did have a challenge card that you're actually going for. So
I will say it is a great source of credits, though. If nothing else, it's a great source of credits, Elder. But there are a couple of revisions that definitely need to be made. I think offering a 3rd character is nice, but I think they need to look at the souls, or maybe every 4 or 5 fights add in like 5 or 10 souls just as an incentive.
Yeah, I think so. Kind of like the normal and hard battles, that would be huge. It would give you a little more reason to stick around. Besides, potentially working off feats of strength, but that's another thing. When they've limited it so much, it makes it tough.
Right, and that's where Elder's good.
Like.
Well, I know this challenge, they have it where you have to use all 3, but I know that recently, I think this last update, they allowed you to use 1 character, and then you can mix and match, which is kind of nice.
They did, except in the last 2 challenges, I think either they got lazy or maybe they're busy working on an update, more likely.
But I think it's lazy. What do you think about the quality of life updates in all of NetherRealm games? Do you think that Cactus Pack could use a little bit of help?
I, get the impression that it's kind of him working as a skeleton crew for the most part, and then being able to appropriate assets from, different parts to the mobile team. And I really don't have a clue what they're working on most of the time, because I know this game's like, a $1.2 to $1.6 million revenue a month property.
You would think they could hire 3 or 4 more people if they're making that kind of money. Like Game of Thrones Conquest. Yeah, Game of Thrones Conquest was a big one. And even DC Legends, I think, is doing okay money-wise. I don't know how well they're doing, but they're getting monthly updates. Like, where did Injustice 2 and Mortal Kombat Mobile go wrong that the updates are just so lazy the last 2 to 3 years?
Yeah, I certainly have spent many hours wondering about that myself, and I just don't see the reason for it, besides, somebody being in charge and kind of deciding that, hey, we're going to focus all our energy on figuring out how to wring more money out of this, and we're not going to invest anything
Which is
into it
fine,
besides
but
the bare minimum.
Which is fine, but I mean, they could offer new challenge characters, and if you like a character, I mean, I would think that people might drop money to buy it, or maybe more rigged packs that just have low drop rates to have a chance to get a character. Can't they make money off golds? Especially, they have a bunch of Mortal Kombat 11 characters they could dump money into. They were so quick to get the Terminator. We need more. Like, 8 characters in a year and a half is not acceptable. When you got other games like Marvel Contest of Champions that guarantee 2 characters every month. That's just ridiculous.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, and especially in terms of the stages. You know, the fact that we only got Shang Tsung's Island Ruins. You know, it's a great stage, but, you know, basically we're still playing MKX stages for the most part.
Now, here's another question for you. How do you feel about them adding in like a Towers of Time mode in mobile? Even if it just awarded you credits, you guys think that would keep people busy? And maybe there's like a little currency you could farm. That would take probably weeks to months of grinding to actually get characters. Do you think that would be something that would be worth to invest in, besides just recycling towers, which we're probably going to get to that point once we get a 4th tower?
Yeah, that's my impression too. I do think they are going to start to rotate the towers, and I also believe that they're going to go back and revise some of these towers, like Tower 4, you know, to change them up and make the gear drops lower, you know, first off, but then also...
Right, I think Tower Horror is too easy.
Higher. Yeah.
Tower Horror needs a harder difficulty, but I think that... how would you how would you do a difficulty for a regular tower versus like a fatal tower? Do you think that it was fine with Lin Kuei? Do you feel it was fine with normal the new tower? Or do you feel that the Tower Horror is more appropriate for new players and maybe just give random like challenge characters for rewards at the top? How do you feel the difficulty should be?
Yeah, well, I'm pretty skewed on that, obviously, because my roster's pretty well developed. But at the end of the day, I think they did better than they did with Lin Kuei Tower by having a regular tower or a normal tower for players to play, and especially getting Kano now, Black Dragon Kano. That's such a great card, and getting guaranteed gear drops. I think that was a highlight of a normal tower and a reason to do it, even if you had your Kano maxed. But I think they've still got a ways to go in terms of making it so that newer players can engage. I mean, I just can't even imagine starting out with bronze cards or silver cards and being able to have anything to do with a number of these matches, even in the normal tower at a certain point.
For me, I made a free-to-play account, as you guys know, in the beginning of Update 2.0 just so I could try things out. One of the things I learned as a new player early on, you got to go hard on those silver packs because you got to get that Kenshi as high as you can.
Yeah, I would think that's certainly a key to the winning strategy with silver teams. Is I'm sure you're probably aware, I beat match 194 on the Lin Kuei Tower using silver cards.
Yeah, that was nice.
Yeah, the silver Kenshi was a huge part of that. I did try to duplicate that feat with some different characters on 186 of Black Dragon Tower, but it's just, because Special 3 can be avoided, it's not something that would
it's hard,
be
but
very
yes.
easy. Yeah.
But Special 3 with silver is right. And some characters it's better to just power drain them, if it's even an option. I didn't do 186 of Tower Horror, or Black Dragon Tower, but yeah.
Yeah, what I actually did was I took Jackie Briggs because she's got a stun on her combo ender.
Yes,
that's
silver.
100% stun chance. So I loaded up some equipment and it actually went really well for about, I think, 15 seconds or so, and then one of the stuns didn't land or something, and then it all blew apart.
Oof.
I realized pretty quickly there it would take a lot of matches because you wouldn't be able to take Jade down with any ease with those silver cards.
No, definitely not. You need burst damage for that, as we found out in 194 of Lin Kuei Tower. But yeah, new players, if you're watching this video live either from Man With No Games podcast or mine, the best way to progress early on, buy silvers and grind your ass off in Faction Wars. The faster you get challenge characters, the better. And always try to do the first difficulty of every challenge. Even if you only have silvers. Try. Upgrade those specials.
Yeah, it's completely worth it, investing into the silver cards to begin with. And, you have to be doing the Shao Kahn's Tower as well, too.
Absolutely, every day.
Got to unlock those talent points. And that's an area of the game that a lot of players tend to, neglect just because they don't know where to allocate the points.
Absolutely, and maybe that's where both of us need to put out different talent guides for different things. You'd probably be the better one to ask for that, but I'm sure I got some decent knowledge too.
Yeah, I've shared some of that content on my Twitter at Manwithnogame45. You can definitely pick up on talent tree tips there, but I think at some point we do need to put out a pretty comprehensive video or something on how to build a talent tree. I think it's a thing that a lot of newer players struggle with. Especially
for new people that come into both of our channels. I mean, they're still looking for guys. I mean, I get bugged every day to play Injustice, and it drives me fucking nuts. But I get why, because they like the content, and we bring an element that others don't. And I heard from Mobile Gamer during the whole Anode fiasco in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes that you don't get to pick who is featuring your game. And I think that rings true. Like, Star and Sky could be the Mortal Kombat mobile player because he's an idiot. But if I were to vote between you or him, I would pick you, even on a bad day. I would reference people to you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And I think it's one of those things where ultimately the content does shine through, because at the end of the day, a lot of what he does is he's picking other people's content to feature on his channel.
Right, because he has a bigger platform. So that gives you exposure, and that gives you the viewers and publicity that I feel you deserve way more than he does.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man, and it certainly has. I've seen a lot of new subscribers, and I think it's terrific for the community all around, because they're going to get some much needed information and perspective on the game that's going to help them.
And I hope a few of them come my way from my viewers too. I really do.
Absolutely. Appreciate that.
I mean, even if I don't play Mortal Kombat Mobile full time, you're probably one of the most respected, in my opinion, players in the Mortal Kombat Mobile community, I feel. And I'm not somebody to beat around the bush either, so if I like you, I'm definitely going to promote you. For sure.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah,
Most definitely.
I appreciate that. I think, where it comes from for me is just, you've got to have a sense of respect for everyone who's a part of the community.
Absolutely.
And so much of what I do, I learn from, everybody else who plays the game. And I think that's the great thing. We all make one another better with it. And that's what's kept me playing this game, because there's been a few times where the drop rate, the MK Casino has made me want to quit, but the community keeps pulling me back and keeps me involved.
Yes, and I think community, kind of like being a content creator streamer, does give us a refresh, because not only can we make somebody else's life better, but we can even learn a thing or two. And that's why I feel it's important, and this is where I think Star and Sky is lacking much of a piece of garbage that he is. I think social media is one of the most important things to be engaging on. From YouTube, Discord, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. If you respond to somebody that thinks that you might be a peon, you might win a follower for life, regardless of the content that you're enjoying.
Absolutely. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I have a lot of folks who I engage with on Twitter and who I engage with on YouTube, and this is the thing. You've always got the opportunity to learn from those people too. I mean, everybody's got a different perspective. They all bring something to the table.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And one of my weaknesses is that I don't collaborate with people, because I've been doing daily Q&As with people, and even like daily vlogs, and I get some of that feedback from people. And like, some people want me to do collabs with people. Your name wasn't on the list, but I feel that you're somebody that deserves to be, because you're a big following on the Mortal Kombat community, and I want to get your name out there. I mean, Mr. Mirza is one from the Injustice community that I need to do the same thing with. That, whether you're a hacker or not, if you're a good guy in the community, you deserve that extra exposure, in my eyes.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, I'm not a hacker. I'm 100% legit, and
which I respect too.
Yeah, I think what it comes down to is, you've got to connect with the other people who you have in the community and
Absolutely.
collaborate with them if you're online with them. And I just look at it as a natural thing that's going to happen where you're expanding from one platform to another. I also, I happen to love getting my feet wet with the video editing and everything now.
Yes.
So.
That was a great job with Kesey's Noob Cybot, by the way. I like that.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, I never really planned on doing this whole YouTube thing. It actually got to be a deal because I couldn't upload videos longer than 2 minutes and 20 seconds. So
there's a setting.
So
there's a setting in YouTube for that too.
Got me going. Yeah.
There's a YouTube setting for that too, where you can make videos longer than 15 minutes. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know if it's a restriction, but yeah, it should be a YouTube setting where you can do videos that are 15 minutes. But yeah, no, I've seen some of those edits, and I saw the one with Kesey, and that was awesome. That's why I mentioned the whole Scorpion thing, and I kind of gave you my logo to rotate in there because it's not like overextending in that. What do you use the video edit anyways? Because I use Sony Vegas.
Yeah, so here's the thing for me, I actually own my own business. I'm a father of two. I got a lot of demands on my time, so pretty much everything I do is on my phone, and I use InShot for putting those videos together. But the reason it's kind of a problem sometimes is that, like this last one, when it rendered, it takes about, I think this one took nearly about an hour to render on my phone. Can't exit into any other apps, and I ran out of space on the phone trying to get it rendered because it was 20 minutes long. So
God, yeah, I think that's one of the things that people don't understand about content creators is that it takes a lot of time to do stuff. I imagine you do a lot more video editing than me. I barely edit anything, but even for a 15-minute video, it takes between 30 to 45 minutes to render it, and then you still have to upload it. You have to edit that. You have to put the tags in. You have to put the description in. Put the thumbnail in. A 15-minute video could easily take 2 to 3 hours.
Oh yeah, no doubt. So, and again, kind of having the family around and everything makes it real hard to record audio. That's why I kind of went virtually silent for most of this Corona business. And I'm busier than ever, so, but
I actually lost my job in April, so I've had all the time in the world now. Because I got fired from my job for complaining on Facebook about raising awareness because items are out of stock, and I should recommend that customers don't shop in my store every day. But it got twisted, and the union wouldn't fight for me, so that's kind of why I've been pushing this whole full-time YouTube thing more. And I just got a Tier 3 membership at a $100 rate. I'm actually surprised. So shout out to Nebulak if you're watching this video, by the way, back. Or the podcast for Man With No Game. But yeah, this is my full-time job, so now I actually have more time to do stuff, and I'm horrible at planning stuff. I mean, you should know yourself, you're a family man. It's hard to make plans with people. And that's
absolutely. And I think that's kind of why I always take the approach, to work as efficient as possible.
Absolutely.
Like video editing, when I'm playing the game, etc.
Well, that's one of the things I used to love about doing challenges. I could render them while I was at work, so I could just have it ready for when I get off work. So that wasn't a big deal. But yeah, time management is a big deal. But when I used to do like 3 challenge videos a week in Injustice, it was so nice doing one like every other day, because then I would just have it all rendered by the time I get home from work, upload it, and I'm good. Another program I really love, if you have a desktop computer, is called Splashtop. I bought the Anywhere Access. It's like $17 a year. But you can actually access your computer from a mobile device. It's really nice.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah. So I actually, like when I was in Green Bay, I could access my computer from home.
Yeah,
that's nice. To pull a file.
I mean, there are certain things you're just not going to be able to do on mobile that you've got to do on the computer. I've noticed that with the YouTube Studio as well, too. The app, at least what they have on iPhone, is extremely limited in terms of its functionality.
Yeah, and I think they're still adding stuff in over time, but yeah, it is quite a bit different. Because I use a desktop computer for 99% of the things I do, other than like the daily vlogs. And yeah, I'm always around a computer. But I have an iPad, I have an Android device as well.
Yeah.
So I have access to all of that.
Cool. Hey, I'm curious what you're thinking of the upcoming update. You know, what we're going to be looking at. You know, if it's finally going to be Shira Ryu Tower, you know, like everybody keeps talking about.
I think we're going to get.
Thoughts might be.
I think we're going to get Joker as a pack, and that's it. I think that's what the next update's going to be.
Really? Okay.
I think it's going to be that bare bones, like usual. And this is a message to Mick Pack. If you're watching either of our podcasts, get some help. Put more content in your games. I would love to be back on this game full time and playing it full time. I'd love to be making videos on it. I know you're better than this.
Yeah, I think it's one of these things, you know, if it's like it was last summer, it's going to be a long few months for this game.
Absolutely.
But again, they surprised us, you know, end of November, beginning of December.
Oh yeah, that was a great
tower.
update. Even the Tower of Horror I like too, because it brought new gear and it brought some new threat. Yes, I like the Lin Kuei Tower better, but the Tower of Horror is easy as fuck. I think Lin Kuei was a better example of a balanced difficulty. And I don't like the BS 194. Like, for a new player, that's just absolutely ridiculous. Yeah. But I like I like a middle ground, but I do like that they offer multiple difficulties for guys like you, and then like a basic tower for guys like me. I like that. So I don't know, they got some work to do, but you know, I like some of the ideas they're doing. So don't think that I'm always shit talking NetherRealm Studios if you're watching this. We just care about your game so much that we want the best for it. And if there's any way that I can help you guys, let me know, because I wouldn't mind working for you guys in the mobile department, even if it's just ideas.
Yeah, I think it's one of these things, like, I think with coming back to 194 especially, I almost think, you know, that was a way to really try to consciously promote, you know, MK11 gold packs and MK11 diamond packs, because you just got your clock cleaned by MK11 Scorpion and you got MK11 Jade and Cabal.
Yeah, or gear. I think gear makes a bigger difference in characters in some cases.
Oh yeah, well,
and it's a lot of luck
sure too.
Like, I mean, did a lot of people think about Combat Cup Sonya at first? I don't think so. Until I started bringing that strategy in, and then everybody started doing it, and it was easier. Like, thinking outside the box like that, thinking a character that might suck could be the gateway to blocking somebody out that could just ruin your day is better. Because if you get a 1 and 2 on getting rid of getting Jade or Cabal in, you get Cabal, you win the game. If you get Jade, your attempt is basically ruined.
Yeah, you definitely have to figure out how to get to MK11 Cabal, hopefully without, you know, having activated his X-ray first. So.
And then also the gear shattering too. That was a big debate that we had. Is it worth it to shatter gear? Is it worth it not to shatter gear? But that was a fun debate too.
That's for sure. And I think that's one of those things that, you know, because of what they've done with the timers, you know, for the most part, on the boss fights at least, it's not, you know, going to work out in your favor, because as soon as the match ends, they all start up, they've got their gear again, you know, even though their health bars are lower, you know, and it just takes so much time to bring it down. But if you had like a special one build, you know, with Outworld Scourge talent, and
I tell you what, once I learned to stun lock everybody, it didn't even seem worth it to use Tanya, because you just stun them the whole. And maybe that's why they changed some of the stuff they did. They didn't like that tactic, but it's really kind of important for newer players. Because once you could just stun lock them all, it didn't matter.
Yeah, I think so. You know, but I'm very curious to see what they're going to bring with the next tower, because I think they are going to stick to that style. I think they're going to kick out, you know,
and I think it's a good style. I think it's a good, and I do like the fact that they're adding brutalities and new gear. I would just like to see more characters that take advantage of that gear. Like, I'd like to see Kotal Khan and Jackie Briggs finally get the benefit of a diamond. But that brings another topic. How do you feel about buffing bad cards that are still bad? Like Venomous Devora.
Yeah, I mean,
and Mournful Katana.
Day, you know, I don't think it's... I think Mournful Katana is a great card, actually. And
I think she's a little slow and overrated. Other than the power drains and the 1 bar on Outworld, I think she's still kind of garbage.
Yeah, well, I actually tend to run her with Conqueror Shao Kahn and Classic Reptile, and then I equip her with Devastator, and that usually ups the damage on her SP1 quite a bit, and since I'm running weak point attacks too, it also serves to snare a good point of the time. I guess I'm using her for the power bar for the most part to charge up Conqueror Shao Kahn and Classic Reptile, because then he can jump in, do his X-ray, shield the team, and then after that I'm hitting in Reptile for the regen. But still, I just find that between those two characters, I can throw her in.
Right, and the extra bar of power helps get to that quicker.
Snare.
Right, utility-wise, she's great. Damage-wise, not really.
Yeah, well, she'll do a fair amount of damage on the SP1, especially if you're using like rapid response.
Oh, for sure. And then you can lock them in too.
Yeah,
that was one of the things we found out with the Lin Kuei Tower. It's great to be able to snare on power drain, and that makes a big difference too.
It's huge, and that's where Injustice 2 Raiden really kicks butt. But yeah, I mean, I think if they're going to do another gold character upgrade, hopefully they get Injustice Scorpion upgraded. I think
that would be nice. Kind of like they did Contra Volcano.
Yeah, worst passives in a way. Although I think you could do some cool stuff with some of the new
Mortal Kombat 11 Scorpion too, and that Hellfire Blade, if you had it upgraded.
Yeah.
But you know what I liked, as far as like the power drain on tag in, that epic ring in the first tower, that power drains every time you tag in. That's so fun when you get a snare out of nowhere.
Wailing Spirits.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was a fun one.
That was the one epic piece I did not pull from Tower of Horror, but I could see, it could be especially useful. It's definitely.
I didn't get the armor, and I hate that too, because that would have helped me out a little bit.
Oh,
especially in this new tower.
Yeah, Living Dead is fantastic, and that's actually one of the things that enables me to run most of my teams without having to rely on Revenant.
Oh god, that Frost Lord saved me 1,000,000 times in the Lin Kuei Tower. I think that's one of the reasons I pushed on, and that might have been the reason I stopped playing the new tower, because I didn't get a gear really. I got all uncommon gear. I didn't get any rares or epic, and you kind of need them if you're not like running maxed out diamonds.
Yeah, I think you've got 110 in the normal tower, which gave you a guaranteed rare gear, so that's nice. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, you're only going to get epics on match 200 of the Fatal Black Dragon Tower.
Right, which is nice that they did that, but that's probably why they made the drop rates garbage.
Yeah, exactly. And I can say that in my, I think I'm on my 9th run right now, I only have gotten one epic gear drop in that entire time. And I ran both towers for,
it's a lot worse than in the other tower. Because I remember getting Frost Sword 3 times. I think there was still one gear item I was missing out of the Lin Kuei Tower. But yeah, they definitely did fuck with the drop rates a little bit and mess it up.
Yeah, it's certainly been dropped since Lin Kuei Tower, that's for sure.
Yeah, so I feel that what they need to do is add new characters. I agree with buffing. I also want to see Blood God Kotal Khan buff, because he is horrible. He's probably a top 5 worst characters right now too, along with Injustice Scorpion.
Yeah, I think they've got to take a look at characters that just don't really have much going on with the passives, because you can tell as their upgrade or as their updates progressed, they really upgraded what the passives did.
Tactical Sonya was another.
The older characters, the characters that were there at the launch.
Right, they should have revisited that instead of making gold characters diamond. I think that was just a lazy way of trying to make money. It's just getting rid of all the gold cards and making them diamond, but then not replacing the gold cards.
Yeah, well,
because gold cards don't make the money.
With the synergy that you had in the game. One of the things that was so great about it before was you could slap any team together, and that made it a lot of fun, because you were always coming up with these different combinations of cards. Which
I hated the change of Revenant Kung Lao. That was the biggest pain in the butt change, because instead of Netherrealm, now it's set to Circle of Shadow, and I liked being able to get the 3 bars of Classic Scorpion using Shaolin Kung Jin and a random 1 bar gear item.
Yeah, it's kind of sad that they haven't done anything to replace that because it was balanced where you had one for each class.
Quailing Scepter kind of offsets that though. Like, yeah, they should have done something for Netherrealm. So who knows? Exactly. Maybe if they put Spawn into the game, maybe we'll see that.
Yeah, we'll see. Netherrealm's definitely one of the classes that has the most cards in it. So it'd be nice if they had something that would replace the whole left by changing Kung Lao.
Yeah, that was a crappy change. But yeah, there's probably some other characters that who else do you think needs to be buffed? You gave a really good one.
Yeah, this is the thing. I think KC could probably speak to that a little bit more. He's got pretty strong opinions though about a lot of these gold cards as to how they're useful. But and I know he'd cringe to hear Spectral Ermac, but I think it's one of these things where gaining. I think he's the one who gains the percentage of somebody's health and toughness when they die. I mean, those kind of passive just aren't really useful in most gold cards for a lot of players.
Yeah, exactly. Like the benefit could be higher.
That's for sure.
Or maybe change it when he defeats somebody, he gains that as well.
Yeah, well, and then for me especially, because I rarely, like to block, given the situation with, faction wars, usually, the aggressor is the one who's winning most of the time. I think there are points in time where it makes sense to block, but, characters like Bojetsu, Kung Jin.
And plus, with all the block breaking gear out there, do you really need to be defensive? I mean, you got gear items in every slot that block breaks, including one that you gave me flack for over a regular block breaking gear. I mean, I know exactly what I'm talking about.
Which one?
Quailing's Bracers. We had to stink about that one. Because it's more than block breaking if you freeze on the last hit.
Yeah, and I was just saying it's not as great as it could be, because basically all you're getting, I think there was like a basic damage increase on it or something like that, and then you had the 20% chance to freeze.
But if the last hit freezes, you can open up with an unblockable special in a way. But I get your point too, because there's unblockable special gear too.
Yeah, well, and most of the time I'm going to be running the bracers on my Sub-Zero anyway, because I'll be trying to pull off the brutality, and I think that's especially useful on these boss fights when you can get it done.
Yes.
It was a lot more useful in Linkway Tower than it's been in Black Dragon, I have to say, but especially because you've got all this debuff resistance with Tremor and stuff. One of my last match 200s, I had a hell of a time actually with him because he was in his gold form. He resisted the snares that I usually get from Injustice 2 Raiden. He resisted the cripple, when it came in from Classic Liu Kang, and then after that, I think it was like Cabal or somebody jumping in with a full, SP2 and taking out my Classic Liu Kang. So, there were, there's some problems that are presented by that for sure.
Yeah, I wish that they did not, I would rather they restrict Raiden and Shao Kahn, even though I liked it. Maybe add a new tag where, kind of like Injustice, where you can make an individual card a boss but not have the effects of a boss. I think that would have been the better way to do it. But I think just adding boss characters and making everything, you can't damage them with tag-ins, fine. But then you can use Injustice 2 Raiden that would dampen power, but then you get X-Raid out of nowhere. So it sucks.
Yeah, well, and I think in this case, if I'd been able to take an SP2 from Tremor, you'd switch into the, fire form, and then I got a better shot at, snaring him or crippling him. But, I guess that's just some of the complications of, 200 on the Black Dragon Tower.
Yeah.
But, I'm certainly curious to see where they're going to go with things, because I think a lot of the feedback is still pretty negative, from the experience that a lot of players have.
Myself included. They should have left it like Lin Kuei, where Raiden and Shao Kahn were banned. I'm sure nobody's maining either one, except for maybe Classic Raiden, but
Well, Shao Kahn actually, he's very useful just because a lot of players, who maybe don't have diamonds have been able to unlock him through the Relic Hunt events. And he can actually take out Terminator in some of these higher level matches of the Black Dragon Tower with his brutality. So
yeah,
that
special
way,
too, right?
you don't get to the endoskeleton, especially when he's regenerating. I think it's like match 195 or something that's giving people a lot of problems. Plus he's got the shield, which is quite handy, and you can get him basically loaded up with an X-ray if you've got the Wrath Hammer and Shao Kahn's helmet too.
You can also do that with Terminator too, if you got Balance Kenshi. You can turn the table and X-ray him too. As long as you got Quelling Scepter at Fusion 5, which thankfully I do.
Oh yeah, that's nice.
So I have fun X-raying with Terminator, and my favorite taunt is "It's official, you suck." Favorite taunt ever on that. I don't think I'll ever change that. But so yeah, what do you think is going to come out of this update? You think we're going to get another tower? You think we're going to get any new challenge characters, any new content in various game modes, or you think it's going to be more of the same old crap that we've been getting for the last year and a half?
Well, Nick Pack has certainly said, that more stuff is coming in the second half of the year. I think it's really his work for the most part that is driving this. I guess you have to question, how things might shift with the acquisition of NetherRealm Studios. It sounds like they might be being bought by Activision. I saw a lot of posts on that recently.
And how do you feel about Mick Pack's communication with the community? I mean, you're a family man. Do you think that he's just too busy to acknowledge people, or do you think that he could be a little bit more open to people? I mean, not about like the negative criticism, but like about the constructive criticism.
Well, I think it's one of these things where I'm impressed that he's still able to go to work every day, frankly, because I think he gets a lot of that negativity, and I think when you pour your heart and soul into stuff, it can really break you down. And I've been in kind of similar public positions in the jobs that I've worked, and it's just that stuff is really corrosive. I think it's only natural that you feel that negativity, like twice as much as you.
And you'd rather block it out.
Yeah, and I think for him, I just get the idea that he's overloaded with
that
a
could
lot
be,
of stuff.
and we don't know a lot about it, right? Could be a lot more into it.
And when you got your life and your work and everything outside of it, I mean, the thing that I kind of that blows me away is they sort of leave him hanging out there without more people who are kind of publicly the face of MK Mobile.
That's why I hate Tyler Lansdowne so much, because he does absolutely nothing for the mobile community.
Yeah,
I would rather be that guy taking the flack than him.
Yeah, I've seen those hashtags and stuff. So, I mean, I get where you stand on it, and I just kind of look at, what we don't understand is, what the inner workings are of the company.
Right, and there's probably a lot that he can't even say.
Yeah, I think there's non-disclosure agreements that they've all got to sign and all this stuff. So, but, again, I think it's usually a pretty small group of people that are asked to do a hell of a lot, and I think that's the biggest issue is, the corporatization. I think in so many cases takes away what's.
But I'm wondering with this whole change of if they're going to sell the company, like who has the say on what they can say and what they don't? Is it Ed Boon, or is it whoever buys the company from AT&T?
Well, and that's kind of.
I didn't even know about that until recently.
Yeah, AT&T. I kind of look back on it. I don't really know what changed precisely with MK Mobile, because things really went downhill in February of 2019 with the 2.0 update. But it's like, well, what led to that focus? Did they have a program manager?
Well, remember
somebody on the team who pushed profit over everything else.
Well, remember too, one of the transitions they made with update 2.0 was that you could no longer airplane mode anything because the game was fully online. And so they revamped to Unreal Engine 4 then as well, which means that any exploits that you could do to get characters that you couldn't previously now no longer work because everything's on their server. And I imagine it takes a lot of work to do. So
Well,
I get why they have to make some of the changes, but there are some things that they should have done. Like any gold character that was not a challenge character upgraded to a diamond should have still been purchasable, in my opinion.
yeah, I think they should have kept the store, for sure, for that reason. And,
Or at least change it something good.
Yeah. Well, and I made that same mistake myself, because I actually thought the game was dead at first when MK11 was announced. I just kind of figured that would be the case, and I stopped playing for a while. And
look at Injustice 1 though, mobile. There's still people playing that game years after Injustice 2 came out. I think if people are passionate about, like even Game Time Gaming, he's got what, a 1,700 day login. So there are people that are still checking into the game every day.
Yeah, and if I hadn't been so convinced at the time that the game was dead, I probably would have kept doing the same. And I think that speaks volumes about how great the game was.
Oh, there's still a lot of great things about the game. And don't get me wrong, a lot of the things that they've done with the game are great because, they've added in new characters which are fun to play. They've added, I think the biggest thing I can say positive is Mortal Kombat 11 Scorpion and gear.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think the best thing about Mortal Kombat 11 Scorpion 2 is the fact that you can get him for free through Faction Wars rewards.
Yes.
And I'm glad that they
Faction Wars is still my favorite game mode.
Yeah, and I'm glad they incorporated MK11 Sub-Zero as well, too.
Yeah, and I like that it rotates out so you can't get the same one all the time, which is good. And I'm sure there are people that got Fusion X Mortal Kombat 11 Scorpions for free. It's great that they have that because it does help the new players, and it rewards you for playing a game mode that's been kind of dry for a year now. Yeah, actually probably longer than that, probably over 2 years.
Yeah, well, and that brings me back to your question from earlier about the Blood Rubies and the Faction War store rewards. I mean, they certainly need to do a refresh on that. And one of the low-hanging fruits, I think, would be the gear, from the towers. I think a lot of players would like to be able to spend Blood Rubies to fuse that up, like especially once towers have been done already.
How far would you go on that, though? Would you let them get epics, or would you satisfy with commons and rares, or uncommons and rares?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean,
and what would the pricing be?
I would prefer they put everything out there, and they could do kind of crazy stuff with it, in terms of.
And I'm sure they could increase the price over regular gear out of there because it's what is it, $400 up for a regular one now? I mean, they could make it $3,200 for a single piece of epic gear, even $6,400.
Yeah, or they could make it, part of a season where you get a pack of. Tower gear, and if you get to a certain level, you could get a epic tower gear through a pack. I mean,
do you remember
that would give you a reason to shoot for legendary status? So that you get this extra gear pack on the Black Dragon season or Lin Kuei season, whatever it's going to be. I mean, all this stuff should be pretty low-hanging fruit, for them to do. And it would engage the players a lot.
Were you there for year one of Mortal Kombat Mobile? When they put Slasher Jason in Faction Wars?
I joined in July of 2016.
Okay, so you did not remember that. So back in the Halloween time of 2015, Slasher Jason was put in the Faction Wars initially, and I think you had to get to Gold 3 to get a copy, and there were other things to get a couple copies. Could they also do the same with a Lin Kuei gear pack? They've offered Drummond's Mask as a reward. Could they do that as future Faction Wars rewards too, to give people a chance to get cards maybe they haven't gotten in a similar format?
Yeah, there's no question about it. Absolutely. And I think they've got, a format now with the towers that they could easily turn into different types of seasons, where you've got things rotating around, from, Tower of Horror, you can make it Season of Horror. Lin Kuei season, whatever you want to do, you could rotate that through, have gear packs that are specific, but even more so, specific Blood Ruby pack rewards for that given season would be helpful. Instead of just rotating MK11 Scorpion out for Sub-Zero, why not rotate, 3 different types of diamond cards
right.
for a given season.
Or maybe if you get into like Master and above, or whatever the rank above Gold 1 is, or whatever, or Gold Elite. What about the ranks above that? Maybe in the top like 500 or whatever, they get a Black Dragon Lin Kuei pack for a chance to get gear. What about something like that? And if you get Grandmaster, you're guaranteed a rare or an epic.
Oh yeah,
to kind of reward people for playing it more.
They really ought to do something for Legend, because it takes so much work to hit that level that you deserve a different tier of rewards, in my opinion.
Right, and I like the fact that you could get like 70,000 points and get a guaranteed gold with a chance of a diamond. I mean, we've seen people with Bronze 1 packs get get an Injustice 2 rated. So I like the setup where you have a chance. Another option could be maybe if you get in those ranks, you have an exclusive chance to get a higher ranked character or something. Or maybe even improve the drop rates.
Yeah, or even like they did in the past. I think they cut it because they were looking to monetize things more. But to get 2 Gold Blood Ruby packs for hitting a certain level, I mean, that was pretty awesome, because you got a crappy draw in your first pack, but being able to get the second pack, maybe you got something there. And it was a reflection of the extra effort that you put into it.
Yeah, it's definitely an option. But yeah, I want to see the game thrive even 2, 3, or 4 years down the road. I think the biggest weakness that Mortal Kombat Mobile has, and I get there's probably a lot of animations and stuff they have to do for each character, and that probably takes a lot of time, but what I want to see out of Mortal Kombat Mobile, and this is a challenge for Mick Pack and anybody else in the Mortal Kombat Mobile dev team, if there's more than one person, can you guys guarantee one character a month? Be it a challenge character, a new Faction War store character, something, so the community isn't so left scraps and bones.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, but I think we don't just need that. We also need a character that we can get too, because that's the most depressing thing. We wait for months to get a character, and then when we do, they're locked behind these abysmally low drop rates. So one of the things I would challenge the team to do is do more of these Elder challenges for MK11 gold cards.
Yes,
I mean, I think we've only had one of each.
Yes,
and it's not going to matter us getting new cards if we don't have.
And if you don't have at least 5 promotions that actually use them. I mean, you get a card at Fusion 0 like Terminator, they're useless other than getting feats of strength unlocked. It'd be nice to actually main them or try them out in various game modes. I think there was one guy that had like a Fusion X Terminator. He might have more by now. I know you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, well, and it's one of these things, like, I think I spent, what was it, 24,000 souls or something to get one fusion of Terminator recently. I mean, it's ridiculous the way that this can go with RNG.
I mean, yeah, and that's why I refuse to gamble. I refuse to spend money on that, because I'm not going to spend $1,200, even if it's earned currency through like 80 days of grinding quests all day long just to get one copy of a card and a bunch of sellbacks. No thank you.
Yeah, well, and there's nothing that'll suck the wind out of your sails like that. Like, that's right when I was like, I'm done with this game if this is going to keep happening. So, and I think that's the thing. There's some real attrition in the community because of that. There's people who, kind of like in your position where, you're sitting on the fence. You're like, I want to play the game, but until new content comes out, until they treat players a little more fairly, I don't really feel like coming back.
It's felt dead to me since they added Sub-Zero as the only card in like 6 months.
Yeah, and I can appreciate that, but again, I think at least beginning of the year, end of last year, things were kind of moving in a good direction.
Yeah, 4 characters in 2 updates.
Yeah, I hope that we'll see more of that. Not too far into
That's why I think it would be fair. Like every month, add at least 1 new challenge character, and then every 3 months, when they might do like a tower rotation, then you monetize content with like a diamond paywall character. But even if we get gold challenge characters, it's something for the free play players, and it's something to show you guys that the game is not dead, and something that is like, dragging it on, because I cannot sit and play Mortal Kombat Mobile for more than a couple hours a day. The state of the game right now, I just can't. I have better things to do.
Well, you know, I can appreciate that. I still do play the game probably about an hour a day, at least. You know, do the towers. That's a lot of fun. The challenge involved there. But you know, I understand where you're coming from, and I think that's exactly what they need to do. They need to add, you know, challenge characters, especially, you know, cards that people can get and have something to look forward to. Because
yes,
if we're just there fighting that drop rate, you know, fighting the loot box pack system that they've got all the time, you know, it's like it's not a winning battle ever.
Right.
I mean, sometimes you get lucky, but you know, the way the drop rates are, most of the time it's just a lot of wasted effort. You know, and
it is a lot of wasted effort.
Yeah, and I've reached out to the team, you know, several times myself, pretty publicly, where, you know, it's like there's got to be a smarter, you know, more creative way to do this. I get the idea that, you know, you've got these, you know, variable reward systems that make gameplay addictive for people, but you know, many other games out there have implemented a system where you've got an increasing drop rate over time based on how much currency you've spent. You know, you don't get sellbacks, you know, certain things that, you know, would make it more tolerable considering the amount of time that we've invested in it.
Well, one of the things I liked about King of Fighter All-Star, now this is granted a really big pity timer, but I think once you open up like 100 or 200 packs, you can get a selector for a character. There was like 4 featured ones you can get, or 4 or 6, but then you can select who you get. And I think if Mortal Kombat Mobile had something like that, even if it was like 50 or maybe like 30, you could get a character outright. I think that'd be a little bit more fair, because that's still like 12,000 souls.
Well, and beyond that, it gets commitment, you know, because at the end of the day, people spend money, they open these packs, they get nothing for it, you know, and they feel like they've been taken for a ride. And,
yeah.
You know, they leave at some point. So, you know, if they're really looking to monetize something, there's got to be more reward built into the system where, you know, maybe you're giving people smaller rewards and you're still dangling that big carrot, you know, down the line. But there's got to be something.
Yeah, and I think that if you buy like 30 packs, you should be guaranteed the card regardless. But I know Injustice 2 had a system where you buy 10 gold characters. I'm sure they've changed it since then, but you were guaranteed a gold character.
Yeah, well, maybe you get some kind of currency that builds up after each pack that you've opened, something like that.
Right.
You know, anything.
That's something I was suggesting too, is that like if you get a sellback, there's a new currency. And this is on my Push the Mick pack. He liked the post, nothing came out of it, so I don't know if he implemented it. But if you get a gold character, a diamond character, bronze, silver, no. But if you get those 2 characters or any rare gear or above as a sellback, you get a currency, and then you can just buy whatever character. I think that would go a long way to fixing some of the bad decisions in the game.
Yeah, and I really hope that if NRS is being sold, you know, that at least, you know, maybe we're going to get Activision or something, who knows, but at least, you know, they could look at this as an immensely profitable, you know, property.
That's going to be so weird. Activision, NetherRealm. Oh, God.
Yeah.
two of the greediest companies out there. But, yeah, Activision at least updates their games a lot more, so we can only hope. And I hope that they don't abandon the first Injustice game. I will get on their ass if they did that, because there's still people... Like, that's a great game. That game has some of the best game mechanics out there. Like, I love finding new ways to knock out multiple people in that game. And I think that's why people come to me for content, for entertaining stuff like that. But my opinion, as I've said, we need more characters in the game. There's so many other companies that are doing it better. Like, Marvel Strike Force is another one. They constantly push out characters. There needs to be a balance, and I think that's NetherRealm's weakest thing. Like, I don't know if you remember WW Immortals, but there was a period of time, I think it was like 2017, they didn't update the game for over a year. Nothing. And this was after they did a big 2.0 update, which I thought was really good. They added 6 characters and a couple new packs, and then after that they just kind of stopped.
Well, and the thing that's interesting with MK Mobile especially is what does get updated is the monetization side. they're always coming out with new packs and new ways to try to sell you the old stuff. So I couldn't agree with you more. I think some of that energy has really got to be put towards having fresh content.
And you could still monetize fresh content if you get a good Mortal Kombat 11 Jade, with a challenge and packs to buy. People will buy it just for that even. And maybe statistics has proved they don't, so they don't bother with gold cards anymore. I mean, there could be some silver thing behind it. I don't know, but I really feel that they need to do something with challenge, or maybe even like lower the price of certain things, so maybe people will spend souls on it. I don't know. I'm sure there's no money to be made in gold cards, and that's why they're not putting them out. But you got to satisfy everybody, not just the whales, but the free-to-play players. And I feel NetherRealm is failing on that.
Yeah, well, I think there is an opportunity to make some money on gold cards too, though, if you make them good enough. I'm sure that they have done pretty well with MK11 Cabal, and they did try to monetize Jade. I think they had these packs that came out for her
I know around Christmas time last year they offered Terminator for $30. That was the only thing I bought in Mortal Kombat Mobile, because you're not gambling. It's a guaranteed copy of a card.
Which that's the even more frustrating thing about a lot of these packs that come out with this. They got these quote-unquote champions packs, then you get a 10% chance to get the card for paying $20. It's just...
Yeah, it's stupid. Just give the person for $30.
Yeah.
I can't stand gambling in video games, and that's just evident of it. I got turned off from it from Injustice 2 when I spent $500 to try to get Arkham Knight Batman. And NetherRealm felt so bad they gave me a copy of it, and the whole community just shit on me for it.
Oh, wow.
Because NetherRealm was being nice because I made so much content. Because back then I was still making only NetherRealm content. So they gave me an Arkham Knight Batman to play around with, and I thought that was awesome. I even did a video where I took him from level 1 to 60 just with upgrades, nice. So I could showcase them off getting level 1 to 60, and yeah, the community hated me for that. They loved me until I got Arkham Knight Batman for free, but they didn't realize all the publicity, and that was one of the things that I respect NetherRealm for. But a fun fact too, I also got the early access test out the bloody Shokin gear, which is why I hold the ring and the chest armor in such high regard, even the tomahawk. But why I love those gear items this day, because there's so many things, even classic Scorpion. If you have a maxed out bloody voodoo doll, it's so good. But I got the early access test that. I think there were a couple of characters Injustice gave me for free as well. I don't get those promotions anymore, but it was nice that even if I could make whatever controversial content I did, they still rewarded me for it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I think that's one of those things where, maybe the players don't like it so much because it's not fair that, only a select few people get access to it. But at the same time, for the purposes of reviewing and generating more content and more interest in the game, I think it totally makes sense. And I'm surprised they don't do more of it still, and I guess that just goes to show
they could have made cutbacks in the company. Because I remember Joel Sasaki,
how limited the team is now,
was the guy that came to me about that, because I was doing promotions with him through Immortals and I think even Injustice. So I think he had me do a couple things as well, because I worked with him until he left the company, and he was a great guy. So I think they made cutbacks in that company.
Yeah, I think they sure have, and it certainly seems like they've got a lot more limited resources for MK
That's what I'm thinking, and that could be why they're selling the division too.
Yeah,
but I look at a game and even in the console department, the Legendary Edition hit for Injustice 2, the game was dead on arrival. But with Mortal Kombat, now they did a whole campaign expansion, which Injustice 2 should have done in the first place, and it brought some new life into the game. But I think the problem with these NetherRealm games is they have about a 1-year shelf life on them. But if Tekken 7 can prove that a game can last over 3 years, Street Fighter 4 and 5 can last many years, could it be maybe the game sucks? Maybe quality control, that's not what the people really want in a game? And it's transitioning over to mobile as well.
Yeah, well, and I do tend to agree. I think, that's one of the biggest issues that we face with Mortal Kombat Mobile now is the quality control. After all these updates and all the changes that they've had, but I guess that's been consistent all along.
And I think that goes into the whole budget cuts, because for a while, when Mick Pack brought in a couple updates with like Classic Scorpion on Injustice 1 and some other cards, he was doing that. A few months back, before the 2.0 update, they shifted him from Injustice and Mortal Kombat. So I feel that their mobile division is just hurting on people. And it's probably not Mick Pack's fault. I mean, he's a good guy. I like him. He'll actually respond to some stuff occasionally.
Yeah, no, and I think that's really one of the reasons I appreciate a lot of what he does, is because he does engage, you know, a lot of times when he's tagged. He does respond. You know, I think he wants to do more. I just look at it like he's got some real limited resources. Yep.
Right.
Non-disclosure agreements, etc.
He can't respond to certain things. Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I will never shit talk Mick Pack as a person at all. I will shit talk Tyler Lansdowne because he doesn't do anything, but Mick Pack is a good guy. I do like him. I will not like go out of my way to harass him or like make his day horrible. But,
well, and I think a lot of the time he's tried to engage. You know, I was getting ready to leave last summer too, and I tagged him, and I'm like, you know, when the hell's an update coming out? Or I didn't quite put it that way, but it's like, you know, for those of us who really want to keep playing this game, like, there's got to be an update. And he kind of kicked in and responded. You know, I think they're pretty limited by, you know, marketing, especially in terms of what they can put out. But, you know, that's around the time that he was dropping gifts with Cabal and them and stuff to try to, you know, give us a little bit of a lifeline and know that, you know, at least something was coming. So,
I wish I could talk to somebody above and beyond them so I could pick their brains. Because I feel like Injustice 1 needs to be supported. Injustice 2, I feel, just needs more characters in the game. Mortal Kombat Mobile needs more characters, and there's a lot of characters in the game, but I feel that in order to keep the game fresh, they need to add more characters in these games, and they're just not happening. So somewhere above them is causing problems, and we need to get to the bottom of this.
I couldn't agree more. I think it comes down to vision, you know, and what they have, you know, is a plan for developing the game. And
but they should have a 1-year roadmap where this is how many characters we're going to put out. Can we do it? You know, I don't think it's too hard to put out 12 new characters in Mortal Kombat Mobile, 12 gold cards, and 4 new diamonds. I don't think that's too exaggerated. We haven't even gotten that yet in a year and a half.
No, you know, and a number of the new characters have been reskins.
Yes.
So it's clear that they're working with extremely limited resources, and, you know, for whatever reasons, you know, if it is solvency, who knows? I mean, maybe they operate off their own P&L and things haven't gone all that well. I don't know. But, you know, at the same time, you'd think for pulling in, you know, 1.2 to 1.6 million, you know, they could invest in the game a little more, because that would yield, you know, huge results in terms of revenue. Like, I look at other games that do more with their content, do more with their RNG systems. You know, maybe they've got something kind of similar to a loot box, but they make it fair enough. They add enough rewards to it to keep people interested. And I've looked at their profits, you know, like SensorTower.com, and
you know, I look there all the time.
Yeah, they're making a hell of a lot more off of each individual download than MK Mobile is. So I think there's a massive opportunity there that's being missed, and I think it would improve the quality of life for the players a whole lot.
And I mean, that's what I've wanted for the last 3 years. I've been complaining about Injustice and Mortal Kombat, and even Immortals. Like, a lot of the problem is they just don't update the content enough, and I feel that they're just shooting themselves in the foot, because people are not going to stick it out forever. They're going to look for other games to play. I would love to just sit and play NetherRealm games forever. Like, I'm sure if I played Injustice full time, I'd get those fanboys out there, but I just can't do that.
Yeah, and I'm the same way. I mean, I to have something to play for. You know, I'm a fan, but I'm not quite a fanboy. You know, there's got to be the content there to make it worth it to me to stick around. So.
Exactly.
Cool. All right. Well, hey, I really appreciate you giving me the opportunity to join you.
Yeah, thanks for having me here. I will definitely get this video out and send you an unlisted link.
Terrific.
I'll try to make any cuts where necessary. Thank you for coming on. And guys, Game Time Gaming, Kesey, I'll be looking out for you guys in the future. Man with No Game will get back in the future. Thank you guys so much for checking us out. Hope to see you in the next one.
Awesome. Thank you, Shono. Take care.
You too, man.
www.youtube.com/HollywoodShono. Subscribe, bitches!